slumped over on a floral print sofa in Beverly Hills. One of his eyes had been shot out, his face a clown mask of gore. The blood blended with the darkness of his necktie to cover half his chest in a dark stain. He had been one of her lover's oldest and closest friends, Benjamin Siegel. Bugsy, the captions always called him. The nickname served to cheapen his murder into something picaresque and quaint. The next picture was also an antique. 15 years ago, 1957. In this one, there was little visible blood, just the body of a man flat on his back on a hairdresser's floor. His name was Albert Anastasia. He lay there in a near cruciform position between two barbers' chairs, his legs draped by a sheet, and his head, shoulders, and arms by another sheet. Or maybe they were towels. The only things exposed were an armpit, a chest covered in hair, a nipple, an outstretched hand. The photos and the words were sensational. That is, they managed to paradoxically both magnify and diminish their subjects. The Meyer she knew was calm, not friendly, fastidiously clean, strategic. There was a reason, she thought, that his body had never turned up in a tabloid newspaper photograph. On the ride into Tel Aviv, he noticed that the sidewalks were full of people looking up at the sky. His driver came off Kings of Israel Square, the city hall like an assemblage of cheap building blocks, pigeons in the big asphalt emptiness. And suddenly everything was cast in shadow. Outside the cafes, waiters stood at the edges of mostly empty tables, arms crossed over their pressed shirts. Right on Frischman, past Dizengoff, Ben Yehuda, juice stands, falafel, laundromats, then farther toward the beach, where the concierges had come out of the hotels, peering and twisting, finding it. Crowds of people silently looking up at the sky, not looking at the car, not looking at him. They turned to each other over their shoulders, then went back to watching what was above, then slowly resumed their courses, heads still raised. There was no way to see from the car what they were looking at. "What's happening?" Lansky finally asked the driver. "I don't know," the driver said. "There must be an eclipse, something like that." He spoke fluent English, though with an Israeli accent that at times sounded oddly German. "I read the paper this morning," Lansky said. "There was nothing about an eclipse. Clouds, maybe. Maybe a patch of clouds. Not an eclipse." A crowd of men in suits stood outside the lobby doors, the driveway 2 lanes thick with black cars. Everyone kept looking at the sky. Lansky waited in the back seat while the driver went in to clear his way. He saw his bag sitting in the sun on the bellman's cart. The driver returned, and he got out of the car, and he and the driver walked past the doorman into the brown lobby. The driver nodded as Lansky got into the elevator by himself, and the doors closed. Gila was sitting in a chair, smoking, still in her uniform, slumped like a child in the beige blouse and black skirt, black nylons. Instead of looking at him, she closed her eyes and exhaled. "Yosha took my shift," she said. "I need the money, but it's okay. What is bad is the way she makes me grovel for it. She knows I'm coming up here, so she makes me grovel." He looked over at the bar, the ice bucket, the tongs. "You shouldn't be begging around like that. You shouldn't be working here at all." "I should be in Ramat Gan, shopping for a new Mercedes. Is that what your wife drives?" He nodded absently or dismissively and walked toward the window. Beneath them was the Mediterranean, Hayarkon Promenade, the beach with its spatter of orange umbrellas, green umbrellas, swimmers standing in the shallows. Everything was ordinary.